Welcome to the third Carbon to Sea annual convening. It's a real pleasure to see all of you here. Some of you have come from far, and it means a lot to have all of you here at a time that really matters. Today, we're going to talk about ocean alkalinity enhancement and dive really deep into questions of its potential, its uncertainties, and a responsible path forward. And as we're diving into these questions, I'd like all of us to hold two things in our head and maybe in our heart at the same time. First, ocean alkalinity enhancement is a wild idea. I personally would prefer that we didn't even have to have this conversation. Because even if we get everything right, it's still going to be a massive industrial intervention, breaking billions of rocks out of the earth and crushing them up, transporting them around the world and adding them to the ocean. Nobody should want to do that. And it is so crucial that we are having this conversation because carbon removal is now part of the climate equation, because OAE stands out as particularly scalable and permanent, and because we cannot make wise decisions without good information, without conversations like these. So the premise of this convening is not how do we force this OAE thing through. It is more like, oh dear Lord, what a mess we've gotten ourselves into. Is OAE maybe one of the ways in which we can restore balance without causing all sorts of other harm? Welcome slide. So, since we launched in 2022, we've tried to play several roles to advance this conversation. First, as a grant maker organization. In the last 3 years, we've made over $30 million in grants to support other organizations to advance R&D, to build coalitions, and to elevate OAE as a promising climate solution. Second, as a field builder. And that means bringing people together all the time, everywhere, to build consensus on what we're learning and a joint vision for the field. Third, as a standard setter, we're trying to set the bar really high for rigor and transparency through our grant-making program, but also we're pushing real standards into the world on community engagement, on environmental monitoring, on data management. And then lastly, we're hoping to be a trusted intermediary for stakeholder engagement, for policy advancement, for market development. Let me actually say one more thing about this last bit. Engaging stakeholders, engaging policymakers is really hard in the best of circumstances, and these are not the best of circumstances. People in this room have lost their jobs, lost their funding, and we, as others in the field as well, are trying to keep the momentum that we've built in the last 2 years, including in the US, and support folks that have been affected. But there's also cause for optimism, I think, in that this is a global effort. And when things slow in one place, they can pick up pace in another. And that's why it's so important to build strong global coalitions, and that's why it's so important to have convenings like this. So this convening is bringing together around 180 people currently shaping the future of marine CDR, from scientists and entrepreneurs to policymakers and funders and advocates. That diversity is what makes this convening so special. The challenges we face are bigger than any one expertise, one organization, one country, and it will take all of us working together to meet them. So we've defined 3 outcomes that would make this convening a success. First, a clearer understanding of where we are in the evaluation of OAE as a climate solution. Second, new connections across sectors and disciplines. And third, greater confidence in the integrity of this field. And if any one of these goals is true for you at the end of this convening, then we've done our job. Now, let me give a quick preview of what's in store for the next couple of days. Yesterday, we kicked off with an in-depth workshop led by John Godek. Thank you very much for those who attended and for John Godek for leading it. Today is our main conference day, and it's packed with knowledge sharing. The arc is as follows. We will start with an introduction from our R&D director, Dr. David Keller, followed by 4 scientists who will share progress on questions of feasibility and desirability of OAE. Next, a panel of diverse stakeholders who will offer perspectives on what matters to them and their constituents and what it takes for them to either support or caution against OAE. Over lunch, we'll have, for the first time in our convening, a 2-hour poster session by our grantees where everyone here can dig deeper into the questions, into the technical scientific questions that are discussed in the morning. In the afternoon, we're turning to the next 2 years. What does a bold vision for the next 2 years is going to look like? Who's working on what, and what goals are we setting for ourselves as a field? And of course, we've built in generous time for coffee breaks and drinks in the afternoon. Tomorrow, we'll roll up our sleeves, and the third day is really dedicated to focused working sessions on anything from error quantification to field research network. This is going to be a really participatory approach where we hope to bring the unique expertise of this field together to shape our strategy and the strategy of this field going forward. And then on Thursday, after many of you begin your journeys home, some of us will cap off the week with congressional meetings aimed at increasing public understanding and to sustain public research funding. Before we begin the program, I wanted to express my gratitude to those who make this convening and Carbon to Sea possible. First of all, our funders. Since 2022, a small group of visionary organizations has been supporting us not only financially, but also as close advisors. Second, thank you to our board of directors, to our science advisory board, and our field side steering committee. You know this because we're asking a lot of time from you, but others in the room may not know this. Your insights shape our work every day to increase our intellectual honesty and integrity and to drive operational excellence. We're really grateful for your time and wisdom. Thank you also for the incredible team of Weymouth Watson, who every year make this convening look and sound and feel that good. And finally, thanks to all of you, particularly those who have been traveling from afar to be here. This convening is really made up of all of you. I'm incredibly excited about what's ahead. Let's make the most of our time here, have good conversations, make good connections. And just one more thing. You can take notes and pictures all you want, but you don't have to, because my former colleague Lydia Kapsenberg, pictures here, has the daunting task of putting this entire convening into a proceedings document, which we will share once it's ready. So thank you, Lydia, for that, and the pressure is on. With that, I want to welcome Dr. David Keller, our R&D director, to the stage. Thank you.